Okay, so let's dive in. Picture this. Your car just, I don't know, suddenly dies.
Yeah.
Or the water heater quits mid-shower.
Oh, the worst.
Right. Or maybe something, bigger happens, health, job,
Hmm.
and bam, there's this bill you totally didn't expect.
And for so many people, that's not just, like, inconvenient. It tips into a full-blown crisis.
Exactly.
And what the material you shared makes really strikingly clear is just how common that feeling is. There's one statistic that really jumps out, right?
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
The 56% of Americans who can't cover an unexpected $1,000 expense.
Wow. 56%.
Yeah, just that one number.
Yeah.
It really tells you why we need to talk about this. It's not like an extra. It's foundational.
Absolutely foundational. And that's what we're digging into today, right? The emergency fund.
Hmm.
Maybe not the most exciting topic in finance sometimes.
What's up? Maybe not.
But honestly, probably the most important step for actual peace of mind. So this deep dive, it's all about unpacking your source material, getting right to the heart of how you build this safety net.
Yep. We're basically going to walk through what the material lays out, the core questions.
Okay.
Like, what is an emergency fund exactly? Why is it so crucial? Like, non-negotiable?
Right.
How much money are we talking about? What's the target? Where should you actually keep the cash? So it's safe, but you can get it if you need it.
Good question.
And the big one, maybe. How do you even start? Especially if money feels really tight already.
Yeah, the practical how.
And finally, what really counts as an emergency? That tricky definition.
Okay, got it. So think of this as like your shortcut. We're pulling the key info, the practical steps, the why it matters, straight from the sources you sent over.
We'll guide you through it.
Our goal here is just to help you understand the steps, sure, but also the thinking behind them, the real impact.
Let's do it.
So let's start right at the beginning then. What is an emergency fund, and why do these sources argue so strongly that we need one?
Okay. So, put simply, it's money set aside just for unexpected stuff.
Strictly unexpected.
Strictly. The material lists things like, suddenly losing your job, big medical bills that come out of nowhere, essential home repairs, car repairs,
Yeah.
things that stop you from living normally or getting to work.
Okay. Necessary thing.
Necessary things, yeah. Or maybe urgent family travel for a crisis.
Yeah.
The why is, well, life happens, right?
It definitely does.
It throws curveballs. And if you don't have this buffer, this separate fund, those curveballs, they can knock you straight into debt.
Yeah.
Credit cards, loans, sometimes even pulling from retirement savings just to cover basic survival stuff.
So it's like your personal financial shock absorber.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
And going back to that 56% number,
Yeah.
it just shows this isn't some like rare problem. It's the reality for more than half of people. So having this fund isn't just about, convenience. It stops everyday hiccups turning into financial disasters.
It's about security. And the sources really hammer this home. It buys you genuine peace of mind.
Peace of mind. Okay, that definitely makes sense. Which brings up the next big question, right? If I need one, how much? How much do I actually need to save?
Yes. And the material gives a pretty clear guideline here.
It does. And this is probably where people start to feel a little intimidated.
Understandably. The standard advice, which is echoed strongly in our sources, is aiming for 3 to 6 months worth of essential living expenses.
Okay, underline essential there. What does that typically include?
Right, essential is key. We're talking the absolute must-pays. So housing, your rent or mortgage,
Okay.
utilities, insurance payments, necessary transport costs, gas, public transport, whatever gets you to work, and a realistic food budget. Groceries.
Not eating out every night?
Definitely not. The material uses an example like, if your bare bones essentials add up to $2,500 a month, then your target range for this fund is $7,500 up to $15,000.
Okay, $15,000. I can see how hearing that, someone might just feel like, nope, can't do it, like hitting a wall.
Totally. And the sources get that. They really acknowledge that feeling, that number can seem huge, almost impossible.
So what's the advice then?
That's why they bring in the idea of starting smaller, much smaller, focusing first on building what they call a mini emergency fund.
A mini fund. Okay, I like the sound of that. Like what amount?
Aiming for maybe $500 or $1,000 to start.
Ah, okay. Much less scary.
Exactly. And there are two big reasons why this works so well. One, that amount, just $500 or $1,000, it can actually cover a lot of the common small emergencies.
Like what?
Like a flat tire, a minor appliance breaking down, an unexpected trip to the vet for your pet, stuff like that.
Okay, things that happen fairly often.
Right. And second, hitting that smaller, achievable goal, It builds serious momentum. It proves to yourself that you can save.
Ah, the psychological win.
Yes, it's as much about building the habit of saving as it is about the actual dollar amount, especially at the beginning.
That makes a lot of sense. Build the muscle first. Which leads perfectly into the next practical thing the material covers. Okay, you're starting to save. Where do you put the money? It needs to be easy to get to, right? But also maybe not too easy. Keep it safe from, impulse buys.
That's the balancing act. And the strong recommendation from the sources is a high-yield savings account, an HYSA.
High-yield savings account, okay.
Think of it like a separate savings account, linked perhaps to your main checking, but distinct.
Separate is key.
Very key. The high-yield part just means it earns a little bit more interest than your standard basic savings account, which is nice, but it's not the main reason.
Oh, what's the main reason then?
The real benefit is the balance it strikes between safety and accessibility.
Okay, explain that balance. Why is it the Goldilocks choice, like you said? Not checking, not investing.
Right. Because the money needs to be stable, first off, and liquid, meaning you can get it reasonably quickly. Your regular checking account. It's just too easy to dip into for everyday stuff. You'll accidentally spend your emergency money.
Guilty as charged, probably.
We've all been there. Then you look at investing, like the stock market. Great for long-term growth, maybe, but way too volatile for this.
Volatile meaning?
Meaning the value can go down, sometimes sharply. Your emergency fund absolutely cannot lose value right when you need it most. Imagine needing $1,000 and finding out your fund is only worth $800 that day.
Oof. Yeah, no good.
No good at all. So an HYSA keeps the money separate, safe from daily spending temptation. It's accessible. Usually you can transfer it to your checking in a day or two.
Okay, quick enough for most things.
Exactly. And crucially, the principal amount you put in is stable. It won't drop overnight. The material is super clear on this. Do not put your emergency fund into investments that fluctuate.
Got it. Stable and accessible, HYSA. Okay, so we know what it is, why it's vital, the target amount eventually, and where to stash the cash. But let's get real. For most people, the biggest hurdle is finding any money to save when it feels like every single dollar is already spoken for.
Yep. And the sources absolutely tackle this head on. They start by just validating that feeling, saying essentially, we hear you, it's tough.
That's important.
It is. But then their core message is actually really empowering. You can find ways to start. And right now, consistency is more important than the amount.
Consistency over amount.
Even if it's just $5, $10, $20 a week, or maybe per paycheck.
Yeah.
The material really stresses that just building the habit of putting something aside regularly is a critical first win.
Okay, so how do you make that happen?
Well, a powerhouse strategy they highlight is automation.
Ah, setting it up automatically.
Exactly. Set up an automatic transfer, even a tiny one, from your checking account to that separate HYSA every payday.
So it just happens.
It just happens. If you don't physically see the money hit your checking account because it's already whisked away, you're way less likely to miss it or spend it.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Pretty much. It flips saving from this thing you have to actively decide to do again and again into something passive that just works in the background.
Okay, that sounds like a game changer. What about finding those first few dollars, though, if things are really tight?
The sources offer some really practical tips there, too.
Yeah.
Things like, doing a temporary cutback on non-essentials.
Wait.
Maybe packing lunch instead of buying it. Brewing coffee at home. Pausing a streaming service you barely watch, reviewing all those little subscriptions, just for a short while maybe.
Okay, a temporary squeeze.
Exactly. They also suggest looking for what they call found money.
Found money? Like down the back of the sofa?
Maybe.
Oh.
But more like challenging yourself to a no-spend weekend. Or a really good one. Selling stuff you don't need anymore.
Decluttering for cash.
Yeah. That old phone in a drawer, furniture you're not using, clothes gathering dust, clearing out clutter can literally fund the beginning of your financial security blanket.
That's actually quite motivating. So these aren't huge, permanent lifestyle shifts necessarily.
Not always. They're presented more as tactical moves, ways to generate that initial seed money and start building that saving muscle, that habit.
Okay, so you get some money saved, it's in the HYSA, but then comes the hard part, right? Discipline. Life keeps happening. How do you know when it's okay to actually use the money?
This is so important for protecting the fund. The sources give a crucial guide here. They define a true emergency as something that is unexpected, necessary, and urgent.
Unexpected, necessary, urgent.
Okay, and something you cannot cover with your regular monthly income or cash flow.
Right. So back to that list from earlier.
Exactly. Job loss, Essential medical care, critical home repairs like a leaky roof or broken furnace, car repairs that are essential for you to get to work or function, an urgent family crisis that requires travel, things like that.
Things you genuinely didn't plan for and have to deal with.
Yes, and the sources are just as clear about what is not an emergency.
Okay, let's hear the nuts.
This fund is not for impulse shopping. It's not for planning a vacation. It's not for holiday gifts. It's not for discretionary spending just because you want something new.
So wanting new shoes doesn't count.
Definitely not. The simple rule the material offers is really powerful. If it can wait, it's not an emergency.
If it can wait, it's not an emergency. That's a good filter.
It really is.
Oh, well.
Because using the fund for non-emergencies just drains it, leaving you vulnerable when a real crisis hits. You've defeated the whole purpose.
Right. You've used your safety net for something that wasn't life-threatening.
Precisely.
Okay, so the process is start small, be consistent, automate the transfers if you can, keep it safe but accessible in an HYSA, and be really strict about only using it for genuine emergencies.
You got it. That's the core strategy.
So what happens after you hit that mini fund goal, that first $500 or $1,000?
Well, first, the sources say, celebrate that. It's a huge achievement, a massive first step.
Okay, acknowledge the win.
Definitely. But the journey doesn't stop there. That mini fund gives you some breathing room, but the next phase is working towards that bigger goal, the full 3 to 6 months of essential expenses.
Right, the ultimate buffer.
Exactly. And the material suggests ways to speed that up. Like if you get a raise at work, try to funnel a good chunk of that increase directly into your emergency fund savings.
Before you get used to spending it.
Yes, lock it in. Another really effective tip is using windfalls.
Windfalls like?
Tax refunds,
Yeah.
work bonuses if you get them, maybe even unexpected cash gifts. Instead of just absorbing them into your regular spending, think about using them to give your emergency fund a big boost.
Like turbocharged contributions?
It's like a great term for it.
Yeah.
It really accelerates your progress towards that bigger goal.
So it's kind of this ongoing cycle. Build the mini fund, protect it, then keep building towards the larger goal, protect that.
It's a continuous process. And reaching that larger goal, that 3-6 months, that offers a significantly higher level of protection and peace of mind.
And the sources keep coming back to this idea, don't they? That it's not just about the money itself.
No, not at all. Fundamentally, it's about building financial resilience.
Resilience.
Meaning
Yeah.
you're building a stronger foundation. So when life inevitably gets bumpy, you're standing on solid ground, not quicksand. You can handle things without derailing your entire financial life.
It's like providing that safety net for future you, as the material puts it.
Exactly. That's a phrase they use. It's proactive care for your future self.
And it changes how you feel now, too. Trading that constant worry for maybe quiet confidence.
That's a huge part of it, knowing you have that buffer. It fundamentally changes your relationship with financial uncertainty. It lowers the background hum of anxiety.
Okay, so let's try and pull this all together. If we're distilling the key takeaways from the material you shared, the essential actions seem pretty straightforward.
They really are, when you break them down. First, just start saving, even if it feels tiny. The act of starting is the most important thing.
Start somewhere, anywhere.
Yes. Second, be consistent. Make saving a regular habit, part of your routine.
Got it. Habit formation.
Third, automate it if you can. Set up those transfers. Make it easy on yourself.
Remove the friction.
Right. And fourth, protect that fund fiercely. Discipline is key. Only use it for what the sources define as a true, unavoidable emergency.
Start, be consistent, automate, protect.
Okay, that's the core loop.
And there's also that really strong message of encouragement in the material, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. It's very clear. You are not behind. It doesn't matter where you are right now, financially.
Yeah.
The most important thing is just starting now, today. Taking that first, small, concrete step. That's what changes everything. That's the beginning of building the habit, building the buffer.
And building that resilience and peace of mind we talked about. Which leaves us maybe with one final thought to chew on, kind of building on those themes of security and looking after your future self. If having this emergency fund really does remove that constant, maybe low-level fear about unexpected financial shocks, how might that change other things?
The ripple effect.
Yeah. Does it free you up mentally, maybe, to think about bigger goals? Or take different kinds of risks, perhaps, in your career? Pursue opportunities you wouldn't have dared to before?
That's a really interesting question. How does removing that specific layer of financial fear actually unlock other possibilities in your life down the road.
Something to think about, definitely, as you start taking these steps, however small they might seem.